Yay, I
I
don't have
have
to think.
reclaimed and I've started recording and I'm going to share my screen and I apologize. That was a nice 5 minute interlude for you. Half time break, we'll call that. Um, and now we're back in business and I'm recording on my computer. Cool. Okay. So to Nick's point, Nick, what you could have done here is moved a little bit closer to the glass and tilted the camera down. I think that would have helped with your fixed focal length. But that's a great. Nick has a camera that he can't zoom in and out on, but sees at about 35 millimeters, it looks like from this. And as humans, we see at about 32 millimeters. So this is giving us a similar perspective in kind of how we see the scene. It's a very popular street photographer's lens. Like all the greats of street photography, if you've ever heard of someone called Henri Cartier-Bresson, who's like, if Ansel Adams is the forefather of landscape photography, Henri Cartier-Bresson, he's French, is the forefather of street photography. You can look him up if you haven't heard of him. Let me get my pen back out here. Henri, he primarily used what Nick has, which is a fixed 35 millimeter camera. Bresson, double F. You can look him up. He's actually really good to, just for an aside for a second, he coined a term in photography called the decisive moment. And what that means is Nick's standing here in Rome looking at the ice creams, and he figures there's a picture to be had, but he waits just for that split second where the man goes to scoop it out, and then he takes his picture. Henri Cartier-Bresson calls that the decisive moment, rather than the man, like, I don't know, washing his hands over here, which wouldn't have been nearly as interesting because it would have led you out the photo when actually this is working. Look at the curve here and where Nick's put everything to take you right here to his hand. You hardly even notice these people over here until I point them out. So nice job and a very creative use of lines. And let me teach you all a little bit about zoom and reflections. Look at this one. Good lighting here. Excellent lighting coming late in the day. This again, this actually is kind of interesting for the decisive moment. In an ideal world, I wish you'd taken this photo 5 seconds before. So the boat was here in the middle. It's close, but it's out there. What do we call this type of line, Kristen?
I don't know.
Okay, let's ask Laurie. What do we call this type of line? I'll give you a clue. It's creating a triangle like this. What happens if we turn it upside down, the triangle?
I mean, you're focused on lines leading to a focal point, but I'm not sure what it's called other
Okay,
than that.
so it's called a vanishing
Oh,
point.
a vanishing point. Oh,
You got it. So when you have two converging lines like this, they usually create a triangle like this. It's called a vanishing point, and it's hands down the most common type of leading line. So this really takes advantage of a vanishing point to take our eye out to the boat. Now, again, arguably, there's tons of different ways that this photo could have been taken. We could have taken it where we didn't have a vanishing point and we just used that one. That's leading line with the good light on it to take us out into the boat. Interesting. There's like crabs or something. Look at those crabs on the floor.
oh.
Huh. Um, but this is working very nicely. Either way, the excellent light late in the day that we call this golden hour. Look how the sky starts to go this lovely golden yellow color, as is the wood, and a really good way to draw our eye out to that focal point of the boat. Could have improved it maybe by dropping a little bit lower as well with your perspective. Made the lines appear bigger. Look at this guy. Excellent capture. Really, really nice. Shallow depth of field again. Only thing I would say again with this is I just feel like maybe the gecko or whatever it is a little bit too centered. I want the focal point to be the eye. Kind of like seeing outside like that. I probably just would bring it down. I don't think you need all of that extra space. Not smartphone. Let's see what this was taken. Is this someone who was here today? You're on my
Yeah, it's mine.
Right. What did you take? What did you use to take it on? A camera, which is a Nikon.
It's an icon.
Perfect. So really good capture with the Nikon. But again, you can do this on the phones. Zoomed in. So this is the same as using the wheel or the lines, whether you're Android or Apple. Whenever we zoom in, one other plus like effect that it has, it's like a nice creative side effect, was whenever you zoom in, which the fancy photography word you're saying is you increase something called the focal length. That's this number over here. You can see it. And you have this, you see when you, even for those of you on your iPhones or Androids, as you flick, you'll see numbers with a little millimeters next to it. The higher the number, the more zoom. So this was 120 millimeters. The more you zoom in on a subject, the shallower you make the depth of field. It's a camera trick. So often, again, if you're taking a picture of your kids, your grandkids, your pets, an animal, and you want to create a picture where just the subject is sharp, and then we have this lovely bokeh. I'm throwing a lot of big photography words at you guys today. Bokeh is just the aesthetic quality of blur created by a camera lens. It's the blur. But in order to get that, a lot of people come to me and they're like, Adam, I just want to know how to take pictures of my dog and get the blur behind it. There's tons of ways to do it, but one easy way to do it is to take a step back and zoom in and then focus on the dog. The minute, same with a flower, if you want to create a shallow depth of field, the minute you increase the focal length, you increase the zoom, you compress the depth of field. You make it skinnier. You make less, remember, depth of field, how much of the scene from the front to the back is sharp, you make less of it sharp, which is great for drawing attention to the subject. Like this is fantastic, this picture and how it's been taken. The gecko is like super sharp. The curtains are like a little bit soft blurry, and then it gets really blurry as we go outside. But that's a good trick for all of you without me having to get too technical of how to get that blur. You just zoom in. Kind of like the trick I taught you to zoom through the glass, but it's a different. So you zoom in on my hand, you touch on my hand, you put your square if you're using your camera on my hand, take the picture, you're going to create more blur. Nick, for you who can't zoom in or out, you just step closer to the subject. Because when you step closer to the subject, you also compress the depth of field. You make it skinny, you create more bokeh the closer you are. If you're all the way back taking a picture of the Grand Canyon and it's huge and it's miles and miles away, it's very hard to create this shallow depth of field. Anyone got any questions on that? It's a bit technical.
Yeah, was that in your room?
Was that in what, sorry? Oh, was that in? Oh, not for me. Yeah, question. Photographer.
Chris, was that in your room?
Oh, no, it's in outdoor hanging curtains in Texas.
You'd be doing some lizard removal if it was inside your house. And but very good, really, really nice. And good use of lines. Look at this one. This one's really good. Well done here on the positioning of the bird. Now, this is a more technical photo in terms of how it's taken and the bird being frozen. Is this a lines picture? Nah, maybe not. Loosely, I mean, any picture could be a lines picture. I don't know whether if I were setting an assignment of lines, necessarily this would fit. Arguably, you've got a line coming here. But regardless, it's a great capture in terms of composition, not showing too much of the ocean. And obviously this bird with like the thing in its mouth is like amazing that you were able to capture that with a, whose is this? You here today? I think this may be Carrie's, but I may be wrong.
That's mine again.
Oh, good, Nick. Oh, well, really good job, Nick, to take this on your with your fixed focal length. This is excellent.
Well, this was with a different camp. So this was with my Olympus, and that's on a Zodiac boat. So we're kind of going up and down. So a
Fine.
little.
Well, yeah, and you made life hard for yourself, but let's see if it gives us your. No, it doesn't give us your. There's your name, but it doesn't give us your Zoom info. Um, but by Zoom info, I mean how much you zoom the camera in and out, not the computer zoom. But excellent capture here. Again, not to go too technical today because I don't want to go too technical. But for those of you who can follow just for a second, Nick has used a faster shutter speed here. He's adjusted his shutter speed. Good way to remember this, for those of you who are familiar with shutter speed, is fast equals freeze when it comes to motion, when it comes to movement. He's frozen the motion of the bird. Slow equals show. That's how you show the movement of something. But this is a fantastic capture. The bird is in perfect light. Nick, I may play around with just maybe taking out that bird there. It's a minor point. But I think the whole picture comes together really nicely, mainly because not only did you do an excellent job focusing, but where you've positioned the bird in the frame. Like, look how less interesting this is if I go like that. It's okay, but I would say my eye wanders a lot. More of a picture of the bird with like the fish or whatever it is in the mouth. But here there's a clear flow that pulls us down to the bottom right-hand corner of the photo. So really nice job. Well done. Look at this one. Lots of you went out at good light. Lots of you got sunrises and sunsets. You found that good light. Well done here for getting down low. Again, using it at the slightly wide angle. The S-curve looks huge. This photo has a shallow depth of field. Only this bit is in focus, but that's okay. Again, I would have been tempted here to even go a little bit lower if you could. Whether on your camera, or also remember a trick for all of you on your iPhones or your Androids is turn your camera upside down when you take a picture. It will self-rotate and it gives you that extra 6 to 8 inches of lower perspective that makes these lines look even bigger. But this is fantastic. This is really good for lines, clear S-curve running out. I may have orientated myself slightly anti-clockwise that here, facing here, just by a degree or two, just to take out this mass of land. Because I don't think it's needed. I think it's a bit distracting on the corners. But really, really good. Whose was this one?
Mine.
Good. Excellent, Lucy. Really, really, really good. What camera did you use to take this on, Lucy?
I think this was Nikon 750.
Very good. Very
Yeah, because I was in the period of shallow depth of field,
Yeah.
so everything was in the shallow.
And is this sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. I can never get up early for
Oh, you're
sunrise.
like me. I'm a sunset person rather than I feel like people fall distinctly into one of two camps. I agree with you. I'm also all for sunsets. But really nice job. Excellent, Lucy, on seeing this, like finding this gully of water and then creating the S-curve and photo from it. And it's really well done. And especially with the 2/3, 1/3 composition, you did a really good job. Let's look at this one. And I actually purposely put these two next to each other because I wanted to show you them next to each other. The one on the left, I think our eye definitely goes to the boat, which is the focal point. Is there a line? Yeah, maybe loosely. I can try and find an S-curve there. It's kind of there a little bit. But I think in this picture, unlike Lucy's picture, look where Lucy's horizon is. And this one, I just watch out. It's falling into that territory where the horizon is right in the middle of the photograph. And I think that, again, gives us a little bit of a conflict between, do we want to look at the snow? Do we want to look at the clouds? Or do we want to kind of look at the boat in the middle? I would probably, if I was taking this picture, take out some of the snow. And I would have moved myself so that the boat was over here, coming into the picture. Very similar to the fisherman picture we looked at. Similar type of structure. Take out some of the negatives to give space and make sure that whatever you have in your photo, if it's moving in a certain direction, that it has room to breathe. The closer this is to the left-hand side of the frame, the more awkward this photo is going to look because you're going to want to follow the boat out, oops, but you're going to want to see all the negative space. Like that's like, do I want to look at the boat and follow it, or do I want to look at all this negative space behind it? It just doesn't feel as natural. So watch out for that. But time of day, like execution of photos, seeing it, really well done. Nice job. Put two together here as well. Oops, these two. Okay. Both great examples of changing our perspective to look up. One on the right, watch out again for the edges of your frame. Sounds like I'm being harsh, but GCA would pick up on that 110% and they ding you for it. So just watch out. But always remember, look up, look down, wherever we are. We live in a 360-degree, three-dimensional world. You see things often by looking up that otherwise we would just miss. And both of these, whether of the natural world or the man-made world, are both excellent examples of changing your perspective to look up and creating these vanishing points. Both of these have vanishing points. Here's the vanishing points on the tree. Here's the vanishing point on the building to take us up through the layers of the sky. Really, really good. Both of these excellent in terms of what I was talking about in the previous class. Even this one with the building, if ever any of you are like downtown or near skyscrapers, don't be afraid to like go in and just like find just an abstract part of the building. Not showing the whole thing. I'd probably put, don't be afraid, even in situations like this, we often, when we're doing abstracts, we'll tilt our cameras like that on purpose to create some kind of dynamism. Works really well on glass buildings because the light reflects and refracts off them. But if I was like commissioned to take a picture of this building, I'd probably present to the architect pictures like this that filled the frame, as well as pictures that showed the entire building. So just while you're there, don't be afraid to play with the angles, play with the lights. Whose was this one?
Mine.
Nice. Since really good. Very, very nice job. Well done. Just watch out for that little bit on the top right. That's
I
the
see it now.
real,
Yes.
real negative.
Thank you.
Perfect. Let's look at these ones. Lovely light here. Really nice light casting these shadows. The light is behind us as the photographer. It's lit up the scene. The path, lots of you found paths and roads, which are usually the easiest place to find the lines, taking us off into the background. Shadowing is really good. Again, all I'd probably do here, if I was standing next to you, was I'd tell you to drop lower. Just a tad. This is just taking a little bit too much at eye level. And I want to generally avoid taking at eye level if we can, because again, eye level puts us in that camp that we're documentarians, we're not creatives. Because we just document it. If you're a street photographer and you practice that at school, fair enough. But in what I'm trying to teach you at the moment, I want to push you to think about how you can see the world in a different way to how you just normally see it walking around. And the camera's lens is a great conduit to show the world in a different way. This is a great example, this one. This is a wide angle shot, 0.5 on the iPhone or wide angle on the camera or sliding it to on the Android. Look at the vanishing point. You're going to see a lot of similarities here on pictures that whether there are buildings, streams, lakes, people, the same ingredients going. And this is an excellent use of vanishing point to take us 2/3 of the way into the frame. 2/3, 1/3, without putting the horizon. And I love the wide angle has kind of almost got down to looking at your feet to get all this surf in the water and everything, which is really interesting. Relatively shallow depth of field here. Little tip, whenever you're photographing landscape photographs, such as this, and you don't have like a really obvious focal point. You're not like, oh, there's a mountain up here or there's a bird here and that should be my main focus. Tap your finger or move your square on your camera approximately 1/3 of the way into the scene. And if you focus 1/3 of the way into the scene, that's going to give you enough depth at the front and enough depth at the back to make sure nothing looks like you've done it by mistake, that something's gone wrong. It's a really good, just like landscape photographer's trick when there's no obvious or identifiable focal point. This one's really good. A lot of you did vanishing points. This one's interesting because I put this one here because this is completely different from any of the other ones we've seen so far. Maybe other than that berry one. And this is kind of harking a bit more along the whole phrase that you hear me use again and again. I mentioned it very briefly in our last class. Fill the frame. And fill the frame is exactly, it's just an easy way to remember. I want to fill the frame with my subject. Often I want to even go closer in than my subject. Like I did with that building just now when I cropped in on it. That was an example of filling the frame, taking stuff out rather than including it. And filling the frame can allow us to be very, I'd go even further with this one. I'd go right in on, like, it's going to look a bit fuzzy, but I would be going right in on this plant. I don't have to show the whole thing. I want to try and maybe bring attention to these nice bright leaves. I want to arguably here, maybe the branch and the leaves are competing with each other a little bit too much. But filling the frame with a plant, let's see if I can get this one to work. Yeah, that's a bit better. And filling the frame with a plant, with a person, with a building, with a landscape is a really good exercise to get you thinking about zooming with your feet, changing perspective, finding texture, finding pattern, finding line. I may actually come back to it later on today. I may give that to you as class's assignment from what I've seen so far in the group. But nice job taking this one. Look at this guy. Definitely lines here. Again, I would crop out those people at the back. They don't need to be here. And I'd take out some of the foreground as well. I don't think that needs to be here. You've still got the lines, but there isn't quite, I think the attention definitely goes to this man. Now, one thing that's a good point for me to bring up here is often when you're taking pictures of buildings and inside, or even architecture, if Nick was wandering around Rome and he came across the Colosseum and he wanted to take a picture, it's very easy for lines from a camera to start going like this, converging or diverging, kind of look like they're falling over. I don't imagine that this building, that the pillars were kind of falling off like this, and falling off like this, and falling off like this. Again, this is me being really being critical to help you improve. Whenever you take a picture inside or of any type of architectural element, ideally, and this is really hard, but it just takes some practice, you've got to make sure whether you're taking it this way or this way, that your camera is straight. If your camera is tilted down like this or up like this, the lines of the building are going to fall towards you or fall away from you. The camera's tilted this way or this way, again, it's not going to be straight. Unfortunately, there's no, actually Android has one for those of you on Android, but Apple has no way to bring up like a spirit level when we take a picture. A lot of your cameras, for those of you on cameras, have like a levelometer built into it that you can cycle through and you can see. But even without that, I just want us to be conscious that when we're taking pictures of anything with lines that's man-made, we want to make sure that we keep our camera straight. Okay, good. Let's go on to the next one. This is a great example of fill the frame, this one. Although I would argue, look at the man's head down at the bottom, the person's head. I would have gone even more in. I would have taken all of that out. Just made it about this. We don't really even know what that is now. We know it's a ceiling from what we saw before, but you could push that hole onto one of the nodal points and straight away just doing that instead of that. That's a really strong example of filling the frame, of taking out the superfluous that just wasn't relevant here and which takes our attention away from where we want it to go. Like it kind of helps tell the story there, the stuff at the bottom, but I just don't think it needs to be there. Who took this? You here today? No, maybe not. I was interested to know where this was taken.
In southern Italy.
Oh, Italy, very nice. Where in Italy?
Southern Italy,
Southern
those little
Italy.
huts.
Mm, really interesting. Are you in a store here? Is this a store? Are they selling these things? I was trying to figure out what was.
They're homes that were turned into stores.
Cool. Very good. So very nice. You did a great job of looking up here and seeing the perspective. I just want you to try to just just really focus before you press that button. Is everything that's currently in my frame, does it need to be here? We can crop it out afterwards, like I've just done. The problem is when you do that, you lose quality. So the better we can get it in camera, the better end result you're going to have. But this would be a great one, great assignment for fill the frame or texture. Same as this one. Look at this one. It's beautiful. Again, this is a really good example of a lot of people, and this hopefully you learned something, whoever took this from my previous class, would show what was here and what was here. I bet there's some type of beautiful garden over here and over here, or an interesting building. But purely honing in just on the path and the color and the light kind of dappling through it and the S curve running through, even the position of the lantern here, this photograph feels very thought out and put together. Really, really good, whoever took this. Nice job. Clear S curve. I'm going to go a little bit quick just because with the time we lost with the computer, but if you can hang with me for maybe an extra 5 minutes at the end of the class, I'll make sure I get through everyone's pictures. Look at this one. What type of Arlie, what type of leading line is this? I just gave it away.
Is that the vanishing line?
Yeah, excellent. So it's a vanishing point. So we've got a strong vanishing point. And in this particular photo, we've got a lot of interesting things that we could have played with. We've got the puddles. Great time of year when it's rainy. Look at how the sky is kind of reflected. The photographer here could have got really low to this puddle. And just taking a picture of the puddle would have been an interesting picture, like taking the picture from down here. Kind of how Lucy did with her seascape going out. Very similar. I feel like this one, again, is taken just a little bit too much at eye level. I'd probably take out the pavement. You've got the vanishing point, taking you to think. If you've been really patient and you've been wanting to do something, you could have even waited for someone to come out of the store here. That's Henri Cartier-Bresson's decisive moment, and then took the picture. But even without that, I really like how the lines vanishing point here. Look how the clouds, everything's taking you down to this clear, identifiable focal point, which is an entrance to a store or some type of building. And even look at the yellow reflecting inside here. So this is playing a lot on color theory, using yellow as the predominant color. It's very, very good. Nice job. This one and this one, really similar in terms of their bones, how they're made up. The only difference I would say is, again, I'm going to get someone to be my judge for me here. Let's ask Since. Which one do you think is stronger here? The one on the left or the one on the right? This is a no
That's
judgment
hard.
zone. Don't be offended if you take the picture on the left or the right. Which one do you think?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one.
There's no right answer.
Okay, I'm drawn to the one on the left, but I'm gonna say the one on the right.
Okay, so why'd you say the one on the right if you were drawn to the one on the left?
Okay, I'll stick with the one on the left.
No, I don't mind either way. I'm just intrigued to know why you thought the one on the right was better. Was it the person in the picture?
No, actually, I could have done without the person for me.
Yeah.
But I don't.
So like all of these things, it's subjective. This has got a vanishing point. This has got an S curve. To me, this one is a little bit stronger, but not much. But primarily because I don't think you need in this one the sky. Come right
Okay.
down. I just get rid of the sky.
I see.
Or I'd even you could off center this person like this, so they're framed. And that again is a form of fill the frame, like I did on the building, like I did on the fern, that I think straight away makes this a stronger image in terms of if you want to put the person in the picture, taking us straight to that person. And then it really ties in Very similar structure to this. But good job, whoever took this one. Look at this one. Lovely S-curve meandering through a succulent garden. I love the shadows on the floor here. If anything, I probably would have homed in on those. It's going to be a teeny bit blurry, this one. So just make sure, remember, you send it to me at the original size. I think that's probably too much even going on there. I'd probably just come in on just the pink and the shadow using light. This one would look really good in black and white. But what you did originally when you took this picture was very good, was identified the S-curve running through the image. Again, changing our perspective would have helped a little bit here. Higher or lower. Lower would have made the lines feel bigger. But lighting-wise, this is excellent. Botanical gardens are great places to find lines because all the people who have designed them know the theory of leading lines and S-curves, and parks are the same. You walk into any park, you're going to see like the path through the park isn't usually just a straight line. It usually kind of winds. And it's because park designers and architects and landscape designers know the benefit of leading lines, and they're trying to take you to different parts of the park or the garden. This one's great. This one's a real storytelling picture. I kind of feel a bit cold just looking at this picture, which is a good thing. Very good use of whoever took this has cropped it, so we're a bit more panoramic. The only thing I would say about this picture, again, if I'm being hypercritical, is arguably our eye is being taken to two different places. It's following here, but I also want it to get to the train. The tree is also kind of an anchor there. And I think if I had to make a choice, I think if I was improving this photo, I'd bring this down and I would have it more like that. I'd actually eliminate the path. To me, the train is the more interesting thing, the train and the ocean. I'd keep that tree maybe off to the left just to anchor it. But I think otherwise our eye is kind of competing and going into two places. Vanishing points, there's loads of them here in this picture. 1, 2, 3, all primarily taking us to the carriage of the train. Be careful when you crop Android, iPhone, camera. If you can, try not to unlock the aspect ratio. Because if you generally what comes out of your camera is what's called a 3:2. This one actually you've cropped it to this one's so that the person has also changed the aspect ratio. This one's cropped to a square. The reason I say that is a lot of times if you just crop and the width and the height don't correspond with each other, they don't keep in proportion, then when you go to eventually print it or do something with it, you print it and it's a picture of your family and half of one of your family's head is chopped off because you've tried to print a 6:4, but actually you cropped it in a weird and wonderful way and you sent it to the printer. So try to maintain the native aspect ratio. This, by the way, this is excellent. Whoever took this, really good. Since this is yours, nice job, really good. Looking
Thank you.
down, filling the frame, all of these patterns and color is obviously helping. But most people would walk past this and they'd look straight down the staircase or straight at it. The fact that since has changed and looked basically down, this would even look interesting. Don't be afraid to sometimes be creative. I wonder what this looks like if we start spinning it around. Yeah, just if you wanted to create something really abstract. Now I know it has any. Kind of reminds me like a candy wonderland. It looks like be a place my kids would love. But don't be afraid to experiment. There are no rules of like everything always has to be straight, everything always has to be perfect, especially with abstract patterns like this. This here I'm going to skip through quite quickly because we've seen it already. This is just from a different angle of it. But again, a really nice photo. What makes this photo is the lines. This one, the photographer has got low. Look how big the fence looks. And this lovely golden light hitting the kind of the pier. Very good. Well done for offsetting it to the right as well and leaving the ocean to the left. This photo feels, again, very well balanced, very creative and very strong use of lines. Look at this one. This one's more a fill the frame, I think, than a lines picture. Anyone here who took this? It's an interesting picture. Trying to figure out why there's a face in the rock. but nice job on putting it on the bottom left nodal point. In fact, it shows me there that someone cropped it afterwards. But really telling a story of something, but not giving too often. When we show too much, we give away the whole story, i.e., showing only a portion of something as opposed to the whole thing leaves more up to the viewer's interpretation. I know I keep on going back to this today, the exclusion rather than the inclusion, the filling the frame, because I think this is a good example of it, but I think a lot, and here's another good example. Look at this one. I have no idea what this is. That's good. That's a positive. You've created an abstract image here where this could be stairs, this could be, I don't know, an AC vent. I have no idea what this is, but that's good. If you showed me the whole thing, you'd give away the whole story. So filling the frame allows us to leave more up to the viewer's interpretation. It makes people, when they look at our photos, want to ask questions, which is a big thing if we can do that. We're not necessarily going to do that in every picture, but if we can do it, it's great. And all of these, I put all of these next to each other on purpose. These are all great examples of not only the photographer finding the lines, but of filling the frame and not showing me the whole thing. Again, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting plant. Where is it? What type of plant is it? So it's got a nice shallow depth of field. But I ask those questions because the photographer hasn't shown me the whole thing. It's a really interesting plant. You guys would know better than me. What type of plant is this? Anyone know?
I don't know what it was, but it's on Day Island.
Interesting.
There was a series. This was the middle point of it dying.
Really interesting. Yeah, it looks, I almost saw a face here. I don't know if anyone else saw that. But I saw a little face in the plant. But really good. Nice capture and nice job on filling the frame. Now, here's a good example. In fact, there's a few church ones I'm going to pull up all next to each other because I know they're coming. Where's the other church? There we go. Okay, so these three, oh, in fact, this is the same picture twice. So these two, the one on the left, excellent use of lines in both of them. But look how distorted the cathedral or the church is on the one on the left. Look how it's leaning. That's emphasized because you've used a wide angle lens, which is good. But I'd love for you to try to keep your camera, even if you point it up, you've kind of gone like this, and all the lines have started falling away from each other. This is very natural. It's just called lens distortion. The one on the right is much better than the one on the left in terms of keeping the lines straight. But good example of what I was talking about of when you're taking architectural lines, especially with wide angles, the 0.5 for those of you on the iPhone, try to keep your camera straight. Both lovely. I like both. This one on the left, I think I would have just pointed at the ceiling. I think the picture to be had here on this one is just this. And the one on the right, though, I really like the rays of light coming into the church here. Like, look at the reflection here of the stained glass window on this pillar. Lovely. So we call that speckled light. Very, very good. So two examples. I think it's two different photographers, two different places, but helps me to kind of reinforce the point about straight lines. Look at this one. Yeah, we'll zip through these. So this one I'm going to do like a speed round now. I'm going to go relatively fast. Everything good, but the camera's not straight. Also, for me, like, again, there's a picture here. Don't be afraid to like look for the small, like this interesting brick here is a picture. Maybe if we go and stand here and we look up at this church, then the stairs create a vanishing point, a leading line. Think about moving round your subject to find the best vantage point. Think about where is the optimal light in our scene. Look at this one. Very similar to the fisherman one, but this, I love how the light is being caught by the inflatable or whatever's being thrown, given that it's like, yeah, the pool float. This is really good. Really, who took this one? This is excellent. Nice job, Lucy. Really, really good. I love even the rays of the ocean here. You've actually got two things. You've got an S curve. You've got two leading lines here, and you've got a vanishing point, as well as like the rays coming out here. Great image. Well, I hope this is a good example of Lucy found the decisive moment. If this ring had been in the like ocean, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting, this picture, but she's waited and waited and waited, and when it got thrown, she took the picture. Very nice job. Very, very nice job. And even though she's shooting into the sun, the highlight is not overexposed. Yeah, some of you sent me some Halloweeny photos, which is funny. Which is crazy. We're only 9 months away from Halloween now, 10 months. But vanishing point here, this picture, again, I think is showing too much. Cut out all that foreground. You don't need it. Just step forward. Zoom with your feet. The lines are there, but I feel like on this particular instance, there's too much to look at. Look at this one. This one's excellent. Again, an S curve. Again, I actually think having the people here makes this photo. Sometimes including people in a scene, especially a big scene, does a big thing. You can write down this as like another ingredient, but it helps to add a sense of scale. We have no idea whether this is a hamster tunnel or a giant road until we see the fact that these people are tiny, and it gives us some context as to the scale of the image. Happens a lot. You see it in big landscapes, like people go up into the mountains, they go out into a park, a field. That often include like one, you see outdoor companies use this a lot, like North Face and Patagonia, when they're advertising their products. They'll take a picture of a ginormous landscape with a teeny weeny person. And the message is like, look at this like epic landscape that you can explore that looks huge because we've given it some scale and context by including a person, and everyone knows how big or small a person is. It's a common reference point. So nice job on this. And for those of you who haven't done this, don't be afraid to include people in your pictures. But if there were 50 people walking through here, it wouldn't be nearly as successful. Here we go. So we're back. Oh, that's the same picture, actually. We'll go past. Yeah, same picture. Sorry for the duplicate there. Look at this. Oh, someone came to San Francisco. I recognize this train. So this is the bar in San Francisco. Again, lots of good converging lines. But I would have taken our camera here and I would have changed it from portrait to landscape. Again, those telephone wires at the top don't need to be there. And all of this blue sky is just not necessary. You could even on this one probably come in more and make it more about the rushing train going. Sorry, it's a bit blurry. Rushing train going past. I think that's a better composition than what we had to start. Everyone see that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay, stick with me while we flick through some of these last ones. This one's really well done, whoever took this. I think this is, I'm going to remember. I think, Kristen, is this yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well done for being brave and getting close to all these bees. You're probably zoomed in a bit, but really, really interesting capture. Definitely lines because of the lines of like the patterns on them, the lines of the hive, like the lines in the background. Again, I would have been really interested on this one to just hone in on like a few of them. Like again, it's going to look blurry, but not show the whole thing. It may have been interesting. Here we've given the whole story. Oops. Here we've given the whole story away. It's a good photo. It's a really good photo. But while I was taking it, I would have looked at what, like even like these three little wasps' heads kind of all in a line here. I see them straight away. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting photo. A repetitive pattern, but filling the frame is the key. For this one. This one's great. Whoever took this one. Really good line. This reminds me a lot of Nick's bird picture. It's just flipped the other way around. So Nick put his bird on the bottom right and had all the lines going towards it. Whoever took this, who took this? If you're here, this is great. Here had your monkey at the top left.
That was me again.
Oh, well, there we go. See? So I didn't know. So it is interesting.
I stuck with it.
Yeah. So what I start to learn this as I get to know you as a group is you will see Nick likes seeing things a certain way, Sint, Neil, Lucy likes the low perspectives with the big C, like the big lines. Nick's got really good at starting to position things in the nodal point and fill the frame and find lines that come towards it. Is this in the wild or is this in the zoo, Nick?
Sorry, I keep muting. That's in Costa Rica.
Beautiful.
I was
Very
in the
good.
wild.
Yeah, excellent. So no doubt attention gets brought to the monkey. I think this actually helps in this case, the kind of blurry fauna in the front. Everything here is pulling us into this really interesting, like monkey playing with a leaf. Very, very good capture. Nice fast shutter speed, shallow depth of field. Definitely fulfills the theme of lines. Really nicely done. This one. I told you a lot of you found paths and roads, and this is a perfect example. Only thing I do on this one is I take out all that excess tree.
Hmm.
Probably offset it a little bit more like that. Just doesn't need to be there. What I want to do is I want to take viewers down the path. I don't want to take viewers up into the canopy of the tree, which potentially happens here. Again, this is like shifting your camera from like here to here. We're talking about moving by like inches, but it makes a big difference. So I want you to play with that perspective. I'm going to guess this is Nick's again, but I maybe
It is.
yeah, yeah. So Nick went on a good wildlife trip. This exposed for the highlight. This comes back to Nick here has exposed has exposed for the bright part of the photo. Now, arguably, he could have taken this photo in a totally different way and had not a silhouette and had the bird so we could see it. We're going to kind of lose the quality there. But for most of you, this is going to be the easiest place to start, as I want you to expose for the highlights. But really good. Nick, I'd probably push it a little bit further off, just a little bit more to the left, just a tad, and maybe even bring it down just to anchor it. We'll come next time. One of the things on my to-do list to teach you is something called the golden ratio, which you may or may not have heard of, but we'll talk about it as a group next time. But this is really very, very good. I want to pull up these. Tell me who sent me these.
I did, and I'm sorry. I don't know how. I just emailed them back to you.
Oh, I didn't know whether it was intentional. I didn't know whether you were trying to do
No,
something artistic.
no, it was not intentional.
Okay.
I don't know how that happened.
They look like if any of you have ever come across an artist called Julie Mehrutu, Mehrutu. She has a big, two huge photos in SF MoMA when you walk into MoMA in San Francisco. They look like Julie Mehrutu's. I was intrigued to know whether you've done them on purpose. I'll take a look at the email at the original ones. And I'm gonna do, as I say, I'm gonna do a little bit of a speed round here. We actually don't have that many more to see. I'm gonna pull up ones that are similar here. Okay. So look at all of I'll put the wildlife ones. Oh, that's the train one. We've seen that one. This red hat one, very similar to the fisherman. Horizon, make sure your horizon's straight. Vanishing point on the one next to it, this one. S curve on this one. Excellent. Vanishing point on this one. Very good, leading lines, but I'd want you to be lower with your perspective. That picture, I don't need to see the dog. And then the bird and the squirrel are almost identical. Really nicely positioned off to one side or the other. What we don't want, common mistake that people make, is they'll be like, oh, this is a cool squirrel, and they'll just stick it smack bang in the middle. It's okay, but it's arguably not as interesting a photo. I mean, it's great that the squirrel is looking right at you. But even in this one, I think there's probably a little bit too much negative space. I'd almost be tempted to take out the bark and keep the blur behind the squirrel. I think it's more interesting. I think the bark competes a little bit because they're similar coloration. But overall, this is really, really very good. Same in this one. Look at this one. Kentucky. One of you was in Kentucky. Look at that. Or a Kentucky Derby party. Oh, that's old. Oh, that's a slightly older picture someone sent me. This picture I think is great, but I think attention is definitely the red hat. So the line comes to the red hat. Again, I sound a bit like a broken record today, but I want you to take some of that stuff out. It just doesn't need to be there. that pulls us so much more comfortably towards the watermill, the red hut, and actually having the blue fisherman there on the left-hand side, the blue and the red being complementary colors, offset each other really nicely to pull us into the image. But just watch out for that showing too much. Hopefully everyone can see that that's just got a bit too much in it. We just don't need to see, we don't need to see all of that. Same with if I look at a bit of these, I'm going to look at some spindles here, some fill the frames. Here we go. Look at these ones. Okay. This one we've seen already. But these ones, especially like, look at this one. This is what I mean about not showing the entire plant. This is excellent. Same with here. I'm like, what is this? I have no idea. Is it a bar? It looks like you're in Asia somewhere. But you haven't shown me the doorway, the entrance to the structure. I'm just getting like the clear horizontal lines of the sign. And here, I mean, lots of repetitive lines here. Same here, not seeing the whole tree. Same here, not seeing the whole plant. Arguably, this looks like it was taken in Hawaii. It's good, but this one's got a lot going on, including some type of chair or structure at the bottom that I definitely would have cropped out. A step or something in there. I just would have moved forward to crop it out. You've got the people on the right, you've got the people on the left. I want you to get into this mindset of more filling the frame. And just make sure I haven't neglected anyone here. This one I've already shown you. Same with this one. Look at the curves in those. Love the one on the right. This one, excellent for getting really close, zooming with your feet. The one in the middle, excellent. Nice choice to leave it black, to make it black and white, taking us down. And this one, again, is a great example of an S-curve taking us right to the nodal point curve, as in the focus on the nodal point. So I think for me, the most obvious thing that has, and apologies for the technical delays today, but the good news is we've got the recording, and I'll make sure I distribute that by the end of today to everyone. I think as a group, you guys did great for a first time. You all were super enthusiastic. Lots of you, I didn't show some of you sent me 7 photos, 10 photos. There's just not time to show a group of this size, everyone, all your photos, but I did review them and I picked out the ones that I thought would be best for the teaching. But I think the biggest thing that I see as a group is that whole thing about not showing too much. So I want to set you guys the theme of fill the frame. You can take photos of whatever you like. I don't mind. Plants, pets, animals, landscapes, street photography, buildings. But I want you to ask yourself the question just before you press that shutter to take the photo. Is everything in the frame here needed? If you go really close, look for how you can create abstract, like kind of like how Cints did with those stairs, like all the beautiful, like multicolored stairs. She didn't show me the whole staircase. She didn't show me what was further on the floor. I didn't need to see that. It made it a more effective photo by not showing me that. So I want us all to focus around that theme and get into the mindset that photography is an exercise in exclusion rather than addition. It's all to do with what do we, and GCA lean into this a lot. You'll see there's a theme that comes up again and again and again called intimate landscapes. Definition of which theoretically you don't show the horizon. But the reason often why GCA judges set intimate landscapes as a theme for shows is they want to encourage people to look closer at things and find those smaller vignettes of a grander scene that help to tell more of a story. Okay? Has anyone got any questions for me?
So I have a question
Everything.
related to landscapes, and because my pictures were all wonky, couldn't see it, but I have a picture or two in Patagonia, which of course the mountains are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you take a picture of the mountains
Oh,
and make it
You still
Smaller.
may want the whole mountains, but a fill the frame image could still be the mountains and a river leading to them, but it doesn't have to be all the sky and everything off to the side of the mountains. So it's looking at within a grander, like if you could, I could show you tons of enceladus, and we'll look at it next time when we really dial in on this. But it is the hardest, Sue, when you have an amazing landscape in front of you to try to fill the frame. And sometimes filling the frame can mean, like on that picture of the BART train, just not having the telephone wires. I'm still showing the BART train. I'm still showing the sun hitting it. I'm still showing the interesting track. I'm just removing superfluous negative space, extra stuff that's not serving a purpose. So I'm not saying you have to take a picture of Patagonia and there's 7 mountains and you just focus on like a tiny bit of one. You could do that for certain things, but it may not be right in that instance. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does, thanks.
Anyone else got any questions? Good. So our next class is the same time on Jan 26th. We've got I'm just going to, everyone have this on the recording. We've got Jan 26th, Feb 9th, and Feb 23rd, all at 9 a.m. Correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but I'm looking at my calendar here. And
You're right.
all on Monday mornings to keep things nice and easy. Again, just housekeeping from me when you send them. As a reminder, please send them original size. And if you wouldn't mind, just in the subject line, this is a big group. And I'm teaching some other GCA groups at the moment. It just helps me. Just put in like TGC or Tacoma Garden Club or just something, just so I make sure your pictures get into the right presentation in the subject line of your email, please.
When do you want them by, Nick?
Good question. Adam, not Nick, just for everyone's reference.
I'm sorry. Nick was on the other side.
Don't worry. So if you can, at the latest 24 hours before the class, because it just gives me time to review them. So let's say we'll give you the weekend. So if you can send them to me, so our next class is the 26th. If you can send them to me by no later than Saturday, the 24th, please, of January.
And then I have a question to everybody. Are you all willing to share those photographs with each other on SmugMug? In which case, would you send them to either Cince or I, and we can post them? I'm sorry, Lucy or I.
Sure.
Yeah. It was a great group of photos.
Cool. So
That
maybe
sounds good.
maybe to make things even easier, Neil, what I think we could do is when people send them to me, why don't they just CC you or Lucy on, and saves everyone having to do 2 emails.
That's a great idea.
So when you send it to me and just CC Neil and Lucy,
Or both of us.
or both of you, even better, and then you guys can just pull it off and put it on the SmugMug, and then I can use it for the lessons.
Great.
Okay. Lovely seeing everyone. Well done. This was a really strong set of photos you guys delivered after like the intro class. So I'm excited to see how this group continues to grow over the next couple of months.
Do you have a theme?
Yeah, fill the frame is the theme.
Fill the frame.
Oh, thank you.
Purposely, I'm leaving it vague because I want you to kind of focus on capturing whatever it is that you encounter over the next couple of weeks, but just bearing that in mind. Okay? I'll see you all at the end of January on the 26th.
Okay.
Have a great day. Look out for the recording from me later on today.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Adam.
It was great. Thank you.
Bye.